That's right, Steve. It's been a while since we settled down into a late night Akashic style program, the after party, as it were. Thanks, guys, for being here. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Toddy. Thanks for accepting the blue wrenches today. We got pounded by trolls. We got pounded by lower vibrations. Right? I was even attacked by witches on Halloween. It was out of control. Hello to Savannah. Hello to Ashley. Welcome. Where were you guys earlier for your free tarot readings? We were on earlier. Tonight's going to be much more of like a vibrational style program. We might get some drums. We might get some tunes on the go. And I'm just going to be me, and we get some oracle cards out, but we won't be into relationship readings, free readings, anything like that. I just wanted to turn on for a vibe session like we used to do back in the good old days. So I hope that's okay with that. And you guys know, if you don't catch me this time, you'll definitely be able. It's probably just not the divine timing, the right time for your reading, right? So that's interesting and cool. Savannah says I was working. And Ashley S., it's been a while. It's so cool to see you, Ashley. It's been quite a time. And Leslie says she wasn't feeling very well. Well, hopefully you're feeling better. If we can get you in here and get you feeling better, give us a thumbs up. That's what we're doing doing it for. Of course, I got to plug and promote the channel in itself. Let's see what maybe we can do to get some tunes on here. Do you guys want a relaxing vibe? Maybe we could do some of that. There was this like pineapple music that I really liked. It was like let's see if I can find it. Hopefully we can. There was like a pineapple on the front of it. It was like ambient style, cool chill out mixes. Unfortunately, I don't have the music producer. He's got like 4 and 6 minute videos to put on there. And we can play it at just kind of like a moderate level. We'll just go with waves crashing on the beach so we can all just kind of like decompress. How is everybody? Yeah, Pineapple Express. Yeah, that's cool. Come and hang out. How's everybody Saturday? All Saints Day, right? It was kind of interesting. I wanted to highlight a few other things that were on the go today. For November 2nd, just because we do this stuff, they call it Sadie Hawkins Day, okay? And way back in like 1938, there was this cartoonist. His name was Al Cap. He created a little cartoon called Little Abner. It was spelled L-I''L, Little Abner. And they conceived of a day of fictitious Dogpatch, USA, when all unmarried ladies, okay, including the character Sadie Hawkins, could pursue men, because back then it was taboo. Don't you dare chase after a man. You better be a wallflower and wait to be asked to dance, right? But they actually physically like ran after them in this event that they started holding. And if the men were caught, marriage was unavoidable, right? And this idea took off in real life. And it was the first recorded Girls Ask the Boys Sadie Hawkins dance, where they actually made the girls go and ask the boys to dance instead of vice versa. I thought it was a very fitting little piece of history for the day and age where we live in, where we're seeing like some things come about in regards to like gender roles, gender equality. You know, we've come a long way since 1938, but it was really cool. It was called the Sadie Hawkins Day. And also, for some reason, my calendar moved the All Saints Day to November 2nd. I'm not sure why. I always thought it was traditionally on the 1st of November. You know, we got a little tunes rolling. So that's kind of big shout out to Sadie Hawkins and to Al Cap and to Little Abner. Okay. Cookie Monster made his debut on this day. We celebrate Cookie Monster's birthday. C is for Cookie. That's good enough for me. November 2nd, everybody. I hope you all had a beautiful, beautiful Saturday. We just want to come in and rest. And thank you guys for helping out with the trolls, with the blue wrenches today. We're going to get some more people armed up with that. And you guys really don't have to do much. I just hope that this place can continue to be like a very welcoming place for people that want to come in, receive readings, and chat with us. I think that as the channel evolves, what I would like is to have a little bit more diversified programming. so that we will still do the live tarot and everybody can come in, but we can also still have these somewhat intimate, informative, awakening, spiritual gatherings and discussions. And I don't always want to lead the discussion. I think what Crafty Robert was doing by inviting me on for a spiritual panel discussion was absolutely great. But if we can somehow inspire and keep the good vibe and rolling on this channel, give a little bit of something for everybody, that would be absolutely wonderful. And there's not much more I can do about it. Is sit back and relax and allow the channel to take its own way, its own level of isness, its own consciousness, really. And truly funny. Absolutely. Because I spend a lot of my days just really giddy and euphoric doing the tarot for you. And then I've got to recharge and reboost and re-energize. And one of my favorite ways to do that is spend a little bit of time with you. And I don't care if it's only 2 or 3 people in this room. It'll be really fun to do. Right? So first up, I'd like to pull a card for our collective oracle for today. It was good. Oh, you got sick and then you got unsick. Did you have cough due to cold? What was troubling you, Leslie? What was troubling you? I would like the channel to evolve. You might see me posting some more guided meditation videos. That's been holding my interest a lot lately as well. I know tarot isn't the most spiritually evolved art form. And let's face it, when people come here and people go on, we're all here for our own reasons. They're not intentively or intentionally selfish, but you can see how wanting answers and wanting to know what we can't know is just an innately kind of selfish trait that we have. We want to be in the know. We want to be privy to the new stuff, right? And always kind of current. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with facilitating that. Tarot has served me well in the over 2 decades that I've been doing it. But I prefer to see it more as a tool. It's like a doorstop, holding the door open for anyone that's willing to walk through into a greater understanding about their life and a greater appreciation of their life. So it's wonderful for the people that do. And not everybody needs tarot for a long time, Innately, I believe you should receive maybe 1 tarot reading a year. Sit down across from somebody who has no idea who you are, especially if you get to know the tarot, and have them do a legit spread for you where you're completely open and receptive. This platform is great, but we've got to face the harsh reality of what it is. I don't want to be in a position where I'm facilitating the creation of a dependency for people that, they're uncomfortable with anything but their particular desired outcome. Because that's not feeding into spiritual awakening or spiritual awareness the best way that I know how. And I really don't know how to do that for other people that come. So this is my attempt at it. This is my way of because what you just vibe out and you hang out. That's a cool thing. We can't all just do, run out into the forest and hang out, but that would be cool too. Perhaps one day, right? Perhaps one day. So let's see what we got in my little box. I got a little box of goodies. Let's see what we can look at tonight. Oh yeah, we're going to pull a card for collective. And you guys, I really want to encourage you, lead the chat, guide the chat. Like Tiger or Leslie, if you guys have anything profound or revealing, not about yourself, but about your journey, we would love to hear from you here on the 99.9. It's a wonderful place. And because I haven't had much time to dedicate to the channel, the actual live tarot reading, getting people their answers, that kind of stole the show. Kind of these programs, the late night of Kosh, vibing out late at night with you guys, it kind of had to fall by the wayside. And I do apologize for that to some that come for that. But ultimately, I want this to be more of a place of open sharing and just give back a little bit. Seeing all those hearts roll through in the chat room now, Saruchi, all that beautiful pink in there. Good this. On the card of the white buffalo. How rare are you? How rare, not like a steak, not like medium well, rare, but how rare, how scarce are you? It's a good question. And I believe the answer is unbelievably scarce. There is only one of you. If you were to be sold on eBay, it would be for like, there would be no price because there's only one of you. There wasn't like a run of 300, only available for a limited time only. None of that, right? It's absolutely unbelievably rare. You're a unique, each of us is like a unique and special gift to the collective. But we have to recognize the value in that of ourselves and for ourselves because everybody has that. So the fact that everybody has it doesn't make it so rare, does it? But the fact, it's like when you go into the crystal shop and you're looking for, say, the most perfect piece of rose quartz or selenite. And there's lots of selenite on the shelf. But there's that one that speaks to you. There's that one that's meant to be with you, right? That's kind of like, we're all a piece of rose quartz, but each with our own shape, each with our own size, each with our own ability to transmit as much energy as we can, right? You guys want to see something? This is from like war times. This is like from wartime. I think it was like World War II. This is a top of a cigar box. And it's kind of racist, but that's the way the world was back then, right? But this is probably from like an 80-year-old cigar box lid. It says they're the Jap, right? I got my candle wax all over it. But this little piece of wood, this is where I do on the back side of it, I put it face down. And this is where I burn my incense and my sage and sweetgrass and all that kind of stuff. And this is like a close-up look at it, right? This is a very valuable antique cigar box lid, but I absolutely trashed it because I knew I was never going to sell it. It was not meant to be in anyone else's hands but my own. And it came from my grandpa. I'm kind of sad about the candle wax thing, but again, the poo of it all, the power of the uncarved block. Yeah, burn some tea leaves. We haven't done an on-air clearing for quite a while. I don't even know where my bay leaves got off to. So kind of like this and show and tell. I don't think there's many of these like that left in existence. And they're a little bit scandalous right now because obviously you wouldn't promote that as the name of your cigar company. But, they were fighting, the Axis and the Allies, they were fighting this war back then. And that's how it ended up, on the top of a cigar box. Just burn another one down kind of thing. Right? And we've changed so much. Like no other century, other than maybe the Ascended Master who came and lived and died about 2,000 years ago. We haven't had really like a more defining century as we have had these past 100 years with everything. Wow, that wasn't too long. It's okay. It's expression, right? Okay, I'm going to go on to my next piece. This here is my lantern. And on one side, it's kind of been in the box. And I'm gypsy style, so everything's packed up. One side is a green light, and the other side is a red light, so that I know when to go and I know when to stop. And this is one of the first things my son ever made for me in arts and crafts. It's got a little hanger on it. I can hang it up, Look at that. And it's something I'll never get rid of. I should try to take good care of it, but it always comes with me, right? I'm showing you the stuff out of my little treasure box tonight, kind of thing. Leslie Mitchell says, I lost my uncle to murder in 2004. He visited me a lot since then, so I find spiritual stuff very interesting. And I started listening to mediums and believing in saging my house. Wow. Well, condolences on your loss, Leslie. It's never easy to lose a loved one. And I do as well. I don't open my door to mediumship, but I always am appreciative when the people I've lost communicate to me. Sometimes they do it through others. Like my dad is wonderful. He'll come through and another person that I share my love with, or another family member, or just anyone in general that I know he would think is good-spirited, that person will make the oddest facial expression. And I know it's him looking through them at me. He hasn't like come into their body or taken them over or anything paranormal or anything. He just has that ability to look at me through another person's face and acknowledge me. And it's wonderful and it's beautiful. And I appreciate, like, you know, because he's in control. You know, he's letting me know that he's there. So when that happens, I really enjoy that. And it adds to the conversation to whomever I'm having the conversation with, right? 100%. So no fancy OBS software. I don't want my computer to slow down. And we're going to start getting back into the swing of things. What else do I got in here? Oh, yeah. I don't think you guys have seen this one before. This one was gifted to me by an old roommate. And then I've since re-gifted it back to my son. But I'm waiting for us to get established again in a more permanent residence so that it wouldn't become lost in the fray that is his other residence. Because, you know, there's a lot that goes on with cats and dogs and baby sisters and stuff where he lives. So I wanted to keep it safe for him. But this is a little dream catcher with a nice piece of quartz crystal in the center of it. I don't know if you can see that. And I would encourage all of you to have like at least some little form of this in your life. If not just for ritual or not just for ceremony or faith or belief. And Christina, you might be able to speak more about the significance of having one of these in your room and in your life. You know, I find like for me, I've always been a very vivid dreamer. And this time of year, like my dreams are off the charts. I feel like I barely sleep. I just go from one world over into the next world. And then I come back to this world. And it's like, wow, where is the sleep? I've almost forgotten what true non-dreaming sleep is like. I'm sure it happens, but you know, I prefer to at least be subconscious than unconscious, you know. And if my brain shuts off for a time, it totally does. And you know, for anybody out there suffering nightmares, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our programming and about the power of prayer. Actually, when I was a small child, I had these horrendous nightmares. They were horrible nightmares. There was these fire creatures that came out of the furnace in the basement of this place where my folks were renting. And there was a yellow one and there was a red one. And they were evil looking suckers. They were scary as all get out. And it started to become a reoccurring nightmare. I think it happened because the furnace would kick in or something, or I don't know. But I felt like trapped in the basement with these things. And it was just awful. It was just awful. But, you know, without any knowledge of God or source or whatever, however you call it, I just offered up a prayer to the etheric, and more from an agnostic point of view, being like, you know, if you exist, if there's a greater power out there, could you please remove these nightmares? I didn't say it like that. Of course, I was like a 7-year-old boy, right, with some knowledge. Could you please remove these nightmares? And if you do, I promise I'm going to be a good person. I'll do right by other people. If that's what you're about, and that's what I think you're about. Because I was taught the golden rule. I was like, it should be an equal trade. If I follow your rule of doing unto others as I'd have done unto me, and generally being a nice person, you should have the ability to take my nightmares away. Step in. And I'm not sure what hurt me. It was God, my higher self, whoever, whatever. But sure enough, the nightmares went away. And they never returned. And for 15 years, I never had another nightmare. And then one night, I had a terrible nightmare. I don't know why. I don't even remember what it was. And I remember back to that time when I was like a 7-year-old boy and I made that prayer. I took a long, hard look at my life. And it dawned on me, I'm being an asshole again. I'm not treating people right. I've fallen in with some tough guys, some cool kids. And I'm not doing right by other people. And it was like a wake-up call. Being like, hey, you're not holding up your end of the bargain. You're not keeping the promise you made. So therefore, you're going to see the other side of the bargain, withdrawal. So I made amends through my spiritualness again. And sure enough, the nightmares went away. And luckily enough, now I've been sort of shown certain things about my soul's journey, where I never return to a land of nightmares. I never even really look at it as dreaming anymore. This is more about actually existing through consciousness on the other side of the veil. And, the recollection, the catching of the dreams and things like this, there's an important bridge here through our dreams. And I think it can be strongly highlighted in our Scorpio season. Okay. Leslie Mitchell says, my uncle comes to me in a bee form or a spirit in my room watching over me. Oh, like a little buzzing bee? That's wonderful. I really like that. The physical manifestation of the humming, the vibration. That's beautiful. Right? What gets to me is not only words, thoughts matter. On the topic of telepathy, right? Let's pull a quick good vibes message for collective. Thanks, Tati. You as well. Have a good stream. Thanks so much for stopping in tonight. Appreciate you for being here. And thanks for being on Troll Patrol today. We got ambushed, but it was okay. It was okay. I've never had 8 dislikes on a video ever. I don't think I've had 8 dislikes, and it was wonderful. But we've got 7 people in the chat room and 7 thumbs up, and this really taken me back to a time where we were really just kind of getting started and we were super small. And it's nice to see the new people here like Dragon and Leslie, and our old friends like Tati and Steve and Christina that have come. Slowly going to start getting the wrenches back to the people that I feel that need to have them. We had some confusion a little bit earlier, and we had some people abusing the power, so to speak. So we had to accept things right, and we'll slowly get back to that point. Okay. And here you go. This is for everybody now. Okay. Happiness is having what you want and wanting what you have. Kindness is the only service that will stand the storm of life and not, I'm trying to read it and not wash out. I'm trying to read it in a mirror because it's mirrored to me as I look at it. All right. I'll just leave that up. You can take a screenshot if you want, you guys. And take it with you if you need to. Yeah. And Taylor Swift again. Haters gonna hate. And I realized a long time ago, not everybody that comes to the chat room is going to all get along, And some people, they did get territorial over who else was here. And I was like, that's why I had to remove the wrenches and slowly start giving them back again. Because it's a bummer when people go away disappointed, but I realize you can't make everybody happy all the time. And if you try, the only person you're making sad is you, right? Sort of thing. But it's nice to be gathered here in such a way tonight. Okay. What else do we got in the treasure box? It's kind of pretty much all cleaned out. Pretty much all there and all cleaned out. Don't have much else for story time on the go here. Those are a few things that I wanted to share. Welcome, Norman Jean. Thanks for popping in tonight. We've kind of been on the topic of mediumship. Leslie was telling us an awesome story about how her uncle comes to her. I mentioned a story about my dad. Hi, Christina. Christina Torres, welcome. So you guys feel free to share. Do you guys have any interesting stories about how your lost loved ones or your loved ones on the other side of the veil communicate to you or communicate through you, maybe even? It's a kind of a wonderful and kind of mysterious topic. Family affair. I remember Family Matters. I don't know if I remember Family Affairs with Steve Urkel? Oh, Laura. I remember that one. But I don't know if I remember Family Affair. But definitely fill me in. Absolutely. Fill me in. Okay. But how rare is something like this? Where else on earth are you going to find just a little pocket like this? A matrix in the corner of another matrix, which is on this tiny, distant little quarantine planet somewhere on the south side of Sagittarius A, millions of light years away from the center of the galaxy. Not too many places, right? Welcome, Angela. Thanks for coming in. Sometimes when I play with my spirit board, is that the one known as Huija? Huija? I always want it because it's spelled with an O, isn't it? Huija? Yeah, mediumship is risky business. It's risky business. There's a lot out there. And, maybe somebody has all the answers and there's this, grand orchestra, or what do they call it? A conductor of the orchestra, and knows where every single spirit is, every single moment through all of eternity. But I tend to think not. I tend to think that our consciousness allows and doesn't allow certain things for itself. It's like, even after death, we create our own worlds. We create our own beautiful version of Earth or of paradise for ourselves and those that share a similar take on what paradise would be. And I really think that that's kind of like how it's really woven together. But I don't know. Might be silly. Christina Torres says, Legend, I just really want to thank you on your advice you gave me. It's really been helping a lot. Perfect. Great. Hey, thanks for recognizing it. But I didn't have much to do with it. I was just a set of lips that it came through. Your advice, if you came through on a reading, your advice came from somewhere else. It didn't really come from me. Sometimes it picks up, or but I do my best to step aside for the channeled readings. This is a little tricky. Well, after TV show went on a syndication, the child star who played Jodie had a special little box of trinkets like pins and robin eggs. Oh, that's interesting. My little box used to have a lot more, but I kind of cleaned it out lately. And a lot of it has been here. Look at the old Casey Bones deck was in there. The good stuff. Think about it. It's amazing when we look at tarot and we look at the nature of our standard 52 card deck. People get romantic. They sit around and play bridge with their lover, play bridge. At least that's what they used to do before things like the internet and stuff like that. These really were the fabric of our entertainment with our loved ones. At Christmas time, Thanksgiving time, you may sit down and have a game of cribbage or crazy eights with your grandma or your grandpa and really take that in. Because you know what? While you're having a fun little competition of cards, you really are sharing your energy. And if you're an intuitive card reader, playing a simple game of cribbage or poker can say a lot about the person you're sitting across the table from. It's just a little trick that we can use. Absolutely. Well, and it's good that you're allowing it to help, Christina. Sometimes I feel like people will come through and they get a reading and they don't retain any of it. It's just kind of my intuitive nature. I know that it's just like being glazed over and they don't retain it. Then they jump on another tarot stream and then they ask the exact same question. And they just kind of spiral out of control. But for you to have actually reached out and have a concrete takeaway from something that was said here, that really means a lot to me in my heart. It gives me confirmation and validation to a point that what we're doing here is worthwhile. When I used to do tarot readings over the telephone, the first thing I would say to many people who called me, if they were patched through to me for their personal reading, I'd be like, where's your pen? Do you have your pen and paper there? Make sure you have a pen and paper, because you're going to want to write down some of the things that you hear, because you don't want to just have to call me back tomorrow. You want to write this stuff down and keep it for yourself. That way you're not spending $2.99 a minute, $3.99. I can't remember what the company was charging at the time, but it was astronomical. And the readers would receive nine cents a minute while the company was taking $3.99 a minute. It was absolutely ridiculous. Okay. And he was learning to pray. Every time he would attempt to start, he would say, "Dear God." Then all the heavenly angels would pray, "Dear God." Right? Doe, deer, a female deer. Yeah, and it's good stuff. And so as you guys can see, this is a much more intimate style gathering. You know, this is a much more selfless style program, you know, where it's just like dedicating the time to doing it and just, you know, being at peace with the fact that this is what we do. This is how we hang out now. And I'm all right with it. I'm just happy to be able to host it whenever I can. Right? And very much. I feel it was like a spirit of air, like a message that rides on the spirit of air, right? Like, what is it? Stairway to Heaven? Yeah. No. Your stairway lies on the whispering wind. You know, your ascension process, the metaphor of a stairway to heaven, right? That sort of thing. I love the air because it's the doorway to the etheric, right? We have the air that we breathe. But what's behind the air? Space. And what's behind space? Maybe an etheric sort of realm, maybe a little bit of a spiritual, maybe it's consciousness itself that exists there. But the air is a wonderful element. The spirit of air. It's like that old Tribe Called Quest song where they sing, you know, what is it? Kisses when we breathe. Tell me what's the deal, yo. One of my first lovers in college, that was a game we would play because we'd be kissing all the time. So we would actively, when we'd sneak a kiss or steal a kiss, we would lay it on so thick and you go, and we'd actually like kind of take the breath away for a little bit. It was kind of fun. A precisionally tuned set of wind chimes. That's a great idea. You just let chi clear itself. You don't even have to actively do it. Wind chimes are beautiful for that. You let the Great Spirit do it. You let Grandfather Sky do it. You know, that's kind of a wonderful thing. Let's get into some different stuff here. Look at this. Look at it. I found this old cigar box at the same time I found the telephone. And look on the while we're showing. Look how much a cigar was back then. 16 cents. That's all it was. 16 cents for a big stogie. Can you believe the price on that? How cool was that? And this is made out of cedar. It's kind of like I'm going to keep it for my pencil cases, picture pages and pencil cases. You know, when I have to write everybody's names down, I'm going to keep it in here. Absolutely. Christina L. says, we used to play poker as kids, and when all our cousins were together, it brings back memories. Yeah, it's kind of the stories we've been telling so far tonight have been a little bit nostalgic for me, right? You know, Robbie Robertson style. And just coming in on our 11:11 Eastern Standard Time. It's always good to have. Always good to have. Where was that other deck of cards I wanted to get out? Jeez, you know. Did I take them with me? Oh, here they are. Over here. 1 second. I get some more cards. I got a real mess going on here, believe it or not. Believe it or not. We got the... Oh! I got one more I can show you guys. I'm not even sure what the name of this particular stone is. My uncle brought it back from me from the desert in Arizona. And it's got really like all these shiny bits. And to be honest with you guys, I stopped going and spending money at the crystal store for refined quartz, for refined this, that, or the other thing. I've been finding some interesting stuff actually just out in the fields where I've been working. And I've been picking up the unrefined samples. And I actually, even though the concentration probably isn't as great, the fact that I'm picking up a stone that's been sitting there for God only knows how long seems to resonate with more power than, you know, having something that's been through a machine or refined or tossed by, you know, probably never even in another set of human beings' hands before. the day that I pick it up. So that to me has been resonating a lot more when it comes to spiritual with crystals and stones and this sort of thing. But this one is quite a pretty rock. Okay. Or tumbled. Yeah, absolutely tumbled. For sure. Right? Yeah, absolutely. What else? Just some random stuff. Oh, pyrite or mica. Yeah, I think it's pyrite. Christina. Talk about Casey Bones and my love of the Grateful Dead. This is a gift that my dad left behind for me. It was his Zippo. And you see Casey Bones there. He's dancing with his cane. I don't have any fluid in it right now, but I thought this was really cool. You know, he had his little box full of treasures too, and he's inspired me to keep a little box full of things that, you know, I know it's material stuff, but you know what? It's those kind of things that, you know, where the memory can live on for you, and you see something and you're instantly reminded. I think that's pretty important too. Like on the notion of keepsakes, and that's what's been gifted to you, right? It's very cool stuff. All right. What else do I got to show for show and tell? Oh yeah. It has spirit attached. Yes, I believe so too. Okay. Let me just get a read on this one so I can present it in a way. So this here, we're not doing pendulum readings, even though I've got this one on a bit of a keychain. This here commemorates the opening of the Space Needle in Seattle, Washington. Now, I wasn't there. Yeah, does anybody else keep a treasure box? And what it does is it's got a little opening for it. I think you can press the button. I think it opens. Oh yeah, it does. And inside is a true like analog style of a compass, right? This wasn't gifted to me by anything. I actually saw this on a penny market shelf, and I decided that, you know, I really wanted to find true north or magnetic north at least. And it's just, this is probably circa 1960, 1970 style pocket compass. I think it's good to know which direction you're going in life. Sometimes we lose our way a little bit. We can get caught up in things and kind of forget our direction from time to time. Right? Well, what I can do, Norman, if you got, I can pull an oracle card for you. Don't be brokenhearted. Here, I'm going to. I'll pull a goddess card. I'll pull an oracle goddess for you, because we haven't been into this deck since we actually kind of stopped doing these programs a long time ago. Okay, we'll just kind of try to align your energy, Norman. You know, breathe into each one of your chakras, at least the 7 main ones. You can breathe into your hands and your feet as well, and above you and below you. But try to remain centered. If Scorpio season has been a little bit intense for you, if you find that you're having a tough time, it's pretty important to center your energy. Tiger says Santa found the North Pole with a thing like that. You're probably not wrong. We've hypnotized. Yeah. Welcome back a bit. All right. Hopefully I can set this up for you. I don't really have all the right stuff to like have this stuff going, but I'll do my best so you guys can get a glimpse. Norman, I pulled the card of Mama Kocha for you. Hopefully you can see her there. Mama Kocha represents the goddess of water. Okay, she's a number 33, which is a very powerful number. I really like it. I'm going to go ahead and read from the book for you, Norman. And I just want you to keep in mind the centeredness of energy and the actual nature of water. Water exists and it nurtures all living things without being in competition with them. It doesn't necessarily ask anything back from you. And Norman, this is for you. The world we inhabit began from the oceanic waters of life and the waters that surrounded us in the womb. both of which are the domain of the Incan goddess Mamacocha. We are most attuned to the qualities of water as the element of water symbolically represents our emotions. Our emotions move us to make and perceive the world as we know it. The beauty in this truth is found by observing water in all of her properties and forms. Water is fluid and passes through the cracks and flaws in the ground without any stresses, moving around obstacles and patiently wearing away the most jagged of rocks until they are smooth and gleaming. Water has the tendency to ebb and flow. It comes and goes in powerful rhythmic motion as the seas and oceans reveal their promise of release and return. Water rises up from the ground and seeds the clouds, and then rains upon the earth to ensure and sustain life. Water turns to hard ice and blankets the world in a protective shell, even of nice, soft, fluffy snow, allowing the dormancy of life to herald a time of dreaming. Again, November, right? Then the ice melts and the cycle begins again. Now for alignment, Norman, okay? Overwhelm and empathy overload has opened up a tidal wave of emotion right now, and it feels like it's threatening to engulf you. Feelings are unruly right now, and you may discover that it's difficult to control them as you project their shadowy fears onto the screen of your life. The goddess Mamacocha says your task now is to detach, step back, and allow your feelings to pass through you like water, without judgment or disapproval. Let your fears be washed away with self-love and understanding, the rains of Shambhala, as it were. The world can be a chaotic place, and uncertainty can create instability where people will act out in incomprehensible ways. Move to higher ground, say no to entanglement and engaging, and just wait things out. Now is the time to respond when you feel ready rather than react in the heat of a moment. Let the goddess Mamacocha's water of life hold you up and surround you like the fluid did in your mama's womb. Let love be that water, okay? It's so supportive. It's so nourishing, right? You're welcome, Norman. You're welcome. I'm glad that that goddess came to speak with you because I feel like not only did it speak to you, it really spoke to the season that we're in. Now that Samhain has come and gone, and we're into November, especially us in the Norman hemisphere, the northern hemisphere. We're marching this procession towards our winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, the darkest time on the planet. And we need to have each other's backs right now. And me as a double Scorpio, ironically enough, I'm not feeling over compassionate at this time. And many signs are, I feel like they're really desperately seeking compassion, or they are overly compassionate themselves and maybe not taking enough of a step back for self-nurture, self-care, self-love. And maybe some of my uncompassionateness, it's not that I'm not compassionate. For some reason, I'm just in the height of my isness. It's the time of year I was born in as a double Scorpio with Venus also in Scorpio. I don't identify strongly, but I understand where I'm coming from on this, because it's not odd or awkward, I feel, for you to be left feeling a little bit faded to your own issues at this time of year, because it holds the greatest potential for understanding and growth. And it can't be given to you by another reader. You can have support from your community, but as a time for somebody actively guiding your car, it's like asking somebody to steer it and work the pedals from the passenger seat while you're still sitting in the driver's seat. It's very difficult, and to a large degree, it can't really be done. So take the time for yourself, get control of the vehicle, and if you need to, learn to drive again, start out again from where you were before. And you're most welcome. Thanks, Norman Jean, for being here. I'm going to say hello to Nicole and to Saafi right now. Hello, ladies. Welcome. We're engaged in the late night Akash discussions. I've been planning to do one of these for a long time, and I got some extra special encouragement today, and just the feeling that, I love for this channel to evolve. And if it feels like this channel's been stuck in a rut and we do the same old thing, well, it's because it has been. But mostly because of my inability to dedicate as much time to it as I was back in July and August. You know, the days were long. I had a lot of space and I had a lot of time. And of course, I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I got survival things and I've got workloads and stuff like every other human being. So unfortunately, this particular program, Late Night Akash and these late night sessions, kind of became the sacrifice, the fodder, as it were, to doing what we were doing. So it feels very nice to return to them tonight. Absolutely. A false sense of security, and I love feeling secure, right? Yeah, and it's totally okay. You know, stay with the yin, but know the yang, right? You know the song and dance, Steve. It's like I watched somebody on YouTube and they were doing a book review on the Duh of Piglet, right? Which is a spin-off of the Tao of Pooh, which is a book that I've been listening to on audiobook during bedtime sessions lately. Because I grew up in Canada, the A. Milne or the E. Cummings, the whole Winnie the Pooh thing was very much like, it's esoteric. If you've never watched Winnie the Pooh as an adult, I strongly recommend it for spiritual growth. Oddly enough, the fact that it's Disney, don't worry about it. They've got their own agenda, but the pure nature of what was created in Winnie the Pooh, and the fact that I think the Hodgkins was the author of the Tao of Pooh, had a somewhat maybe semi-stable grip on the Tao Te Ching of Taoism. I don't think he fully comprehended it, or if he did, he really tried too hard to relate it back to our Western society and the way we are, which we know it can't be done. But I was reading the Tao Te Pooh and I was watching a book review from a lady that did a book review on the Duh of Piglet, and she was just upset that this person could take such a strong stance against Eeyore, against the personality of it. And added to a bit of my disdain, I had to comment on her page. I had to say, it makes very little sense for someone to read or write a book on the subject of Tao or Duh without fully understanding the Tao Te Ching. And then I left the comment and then I was like, oh, that was a little harsh. But my stinger's been out, oddly enough. I really am feeling this part of my teacher self to like really just leave people chained to fate for a little while. You know, it's that old Live. There's a band called Live, and we go live, but there was a band called Live. And I think the song is called I Alone, and it goes something like, I alone love you, I alone tempt you. And then there's a line in that song where he says, the greatest of teachers won't hesitate to leave you there by yourself chained to fate. And that sounds cold, burr, like it's November. But it's been very resonant with me lately. When I think about, you know, people that come for guidance and health and healing, but they don't want to acknowledge their own issues. And me as a person, as an intuitive coach or guidance or tarot reader or whatever the hell it is I do, I'm not there to shake it out of them. I'm not also there to take them by the hand and guide them down the path like Pooh does for Piglet. I just don't have time to do that to millions. I have Monkey Mind trained at thinking we're a syndicate program. Remember that? To the people, to all the people that come here, I honestly just can't. I don't have that level of energy or patience or anything of that nature. But there has to be this significant spark of self-awareness before these readings can really root in and take effect. And that's why when like Christina Torres comes in and says, thank you, the reading you gave me has been perpetually helping me, that lets me know, hands down, that Christina Torres is at least self-aware, you know, that she's working through something, that she's fighting through something. Some people are only come abreast to a problem that they know they're facing adversity, they know they're having trouble, but they don't dig a little deeper to realize, why is that energy being mirrored to them? Why is that energy coming back onto them? They won't acknowledge that it's coming from them. It's only happening to me. It's only happening to me. And it's not that we can't help other people out of their funks, as it were, or to help them gain self-awareness. But it's just at this particular season, I'm having none of it. I think it's greater for people to come to those realizations within themselves with just a gentle shove, a gentle push, rather than being like, you know, divine feminine nurturing. It's okay. It's all right. Don't worry. I've got the answers for you, and you don't have to grow. I'll just make it all better. I can't do that, because you have to grow, and you have to be strong, I feel, in order so that it actually can take root and that it can feel all better, right? Yeah, I think that's true, right? And everybody's on their own unique path. We talked about it in the chat today about the infinite personal relationship you have with Source. I talked about it earlier with that little dream analogy thing that I had. Let's see what else we have. We had some pyrite. We had a compass in here. What the hell up? What else is going on? Not much exciting, to be honest. I kind of cleaned this box out, and there's not much exciting going on. Algebra. Oh, Citron. Let's have a little spark for Citron. Absolutely. Wonderful. I don't have my bay leaves. I'm still in kind of temporary gypsy setup. I got all my cards out, which was nice. I found the box. I put those all in. You're welcome, Citron. Thanks for joining the program tonight. Really nice of you to make it in and join us, and really just like gather up your tribe, find us, hang out. I guess this is the way it's done. We don't go to bridge night anymore and sit around and play bridge and all share our stories. We kind of come to a place like this where it's like we can dim the lights if we need to. We can turn the sound down if we want, and we can engage with who we want to engage with. Hello, Celicia. I see you there in the chat room as well. Celicia, it is very vibracious. It's delicious and vibracious. 100%. So let's pull a card from the Dreams of Gaia now for collective. See if we can inspire the next segue into the next portion of our chat, because you guys really drive it. It's wonderful. Absolutely. That agreement of disagreement, agree to disagree, it really comes back to that unique path that we're on, you know. If we're meant to collide, it doesn't mean that we're meant to conflict. It doesn't mean that necessarily we're always meant to learn something. Sometimes we just hear a new perspective, you know. It's like, it's the main reason I don't, you know, go around trying to convert people to New Age. You know, you walk through the door. You found yourself here at this particular. There's nothing that I can say that makes you want to believe in something more so. It's gotta be from yourself. There are certain cues or keys that I can give you, certain things that can only benefit you. Hi, Chanel. Like this, your body and mind. Somebody came into the chat a few days ago and they said, I'm really struggling with my mental health. And I was like, I can't help you. You need to engage a conversation with a professional person that's meant for you, because it helped me recognize what level they were at, their mental health. But these are two things that you got to take care of, especially the latter, especially the mind, because the mind is like the seed for the body. I harp on it, beat it to glue. If the body dies, the seed doesn't die. The seed can create a new body. But if the mind dies, then the body dies along with it, and you can be left with nothing, right? And how are our seeds spread? Well, sometimes birds do it. Sometimes the spirit of the air does it. Sometimes a little seed sticks to your yoga pants and travels with you halfway across town before it decides to poke you when you brush it off, and it starts a tree somewhere else. But the body and mind, keep your consciousness strong. And keep your consciousness alert beyond the mundane thinking of every day. And your body will follow. You will only be inspired to take care of your body the more you tend to the notion of your mind being that part of you, not necessarily just the mind or the brain, but consciousness being that part of you that is eternal, that part of you that can continue on forever and a day. Right? Oh, into the Chinese zodiac. Beautiful. I love how that inspired that. Hi, Chanel and Nicole. We've got a heavy Aquarian contingency to contend with tonight. And it's great that you guys have been attracted here and have come in and said hello back to the original tribe. I would love to one day see Maya reappear in here. That would be awesome. And I know we just missed Eve on the live stream. She came in like the last 20 seconds of the live stream. We saw Eve and just some amazing people that have been like core tribe. Because we've seen a lot of people come through our channel. They've come and they've gone. Some people have started their own channels, and now we have like sub-tribes within big tribes and community within community. And I think it's just been amazing. And a big thank you to you guys that have decided to stay central here and spend some time with me. It's wonderful. Twin dragon sons too, right? My bestie's a dragon. Dragon, Valkor, and the dragon deck. Oh yeah, we were gonna pull a Dreams of Gaia card. Oh, we did. It was the body mind card. I forget what we're doing sometimes. We're just meant to be here vibing out. I got mini oracle decks here. Thanks to you guys contributing through the channel, through the summer and the fall months, I was able to accumulate a fair amount of decks, and it just kind of occurred to me lately that I have them all laid out here in front of me, that each and every one of them is still relevant and still important. Heck, there was a gentleman came in today. I even opened this one up, and I never open this one up anymore. And it's the Late Night Akash. It's the deck that inspired this entire program. And of all my decks, this is the one that I touch the least. Right? If you're going to touch a deck, make sure you touch the right one. Just a little crass play on words humor. Can't seem to get away from it this Scorpio season. I'm feeling the trueness of self. And hopefully you are too out there. So Lacey says, my son and I are both rabbits. That'll happen when you have your children at the age of 24 or 36. Welcome back, Yvette. Thank you. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Right. So Tiger Dragon is an ox. We've got some dragons and some rabbits in the room. Anybody else? I've probably just been missing it as I've been storytelling. You're a tat. Holy tat. I know what you meant, a rat. You guys know the story about when all of the animals from the Chinese zodiac, they got together and they decided to have a race across the river to find out, which sign was superior to the rest. They all agreed that whichever animal was able to cross the river the fastest or first would be seen as the most superior of the sign. Have you guys ever heard that story? Well, anyways, if you haven't heard that story, the starting gun went off, Pink Floyd style, right? Nobody missed the starting gun. But what happened was the ox was clearly the strongest, the biggest, and the best swimmer. None of the animals could keep up to the ox. There was just no way. They all realized halfway across the river that the ox, there's no way they could beat them. But just about as the ox was about to reach the other side of the river, the little rat came scurrying off the ox's back, down his nose, jumped off the end of the ox's nose onto the other side of the river. And he said, I won, right? He hitched a ride. He let the other do the work. The rat found the path of least resistance. The least amount of energy was needed to cross the river. And it's that very much when we're talking about the Tao. We shouldn't talk too much about the Tao, but I can't help it. Maybe we're reaching a new era. Maybe Lao Tzu is secretly just kind of here in our etheric and warming our hearts for us and being like, it's okay to talk about it a little bit. But it's like that invisible action that you only need a little bit of a push, of an energy boost. And a little bit action creates a huge force, and only in the moment it's needed. It's the number one principle in judo. You learn to take the other person's force against you and move with it, and then you're throwing people across the barroom floor. But anyways, that was a little story about how the rat hitched a ride and used his smarts to say, I'm not even going to try. I'm going to let the ox do all the work because I'm smart enough to know, hands down, that the ox is going to win this thing outright. So why don't I just, And nobody said any rules. It was just the first one across the river is superior, right? 100%. I'm just glad after a rough week I found a treasure. Oh, interesting. What did you find? We've been going through a treasure box today, and it's so funny because for those of you that were here earlier, the card that was drawn out of this deck for the person that needed to hear a message out of this deck was actually the card of treasure. It's been like a theme today. 2 ounces of gold jewelry. Well, hey, you hit the big time. Wee! Yeah, they were moving right along, weren't they? They were giving me this interesting stuff. So it's good that you guys understand a nice balance, and you can get in touch with the astrology of the Eastern side of things. I always like when I go out for Chinese food, and it's not real Chinese food; it's Western Chinese food. I take in my dose of MSG, but I took my lady friend out for Chinese food, and we were talking about the menu because it had all the years and the signs and the traits of the printed up on the little placemats. Very classy place. Rodney Dangerfield fancy, as it were. Very fancy place. And that was all fun and good. And then at the very end, you get the cookie, the wafer cookie that's folded in half with the message inside. And she desperately wanted me to read the fortune. What does your fortune say? What is your cookie? What was the message in your cookie? What was the treasure? What was the good fortune or the message inside your cookie? And I wouldn't tell her. And she just kept getting more like, what does it say? You gotta tell me what it says, right? So I got the piece of paper out, and I looked down and I read it. And my fortune cookie, what was written upon it was interesting. I said, please help. I'm being held against my will in a fortune cookie factory. I was like, we got to save this guy. Just kidding. It didn't actually say that, but it was a nice light to the to the fun of good fortune and fortune telling. Please help. I'm being held against my will in a fortune cookie factory. Yeah. It's good. It's absolutely good. The real treasure is inside of you, Citron. 2 ounces of gold on the outside, 14 ounces of diamonds on the inside. Ooh. Number 8. Our Oracle E message is all in, Either you is or you isn't. You are or you are not, right? And I feel like a lot of people, mostly outside of this group, anyone you're dealing with, this might be a good message that you can pass along, and you don't have to affect them or get too much into their personal lives. If you see anyone that's hurting or needs a helping hand up, maybe it's just a reminder, or they're on the fence about something, or they're uncertain of their spiritual progression. Maybe they're clinging to an old archetype of religion or, dogmatic principle. And, they're having a tough time awakening into their true self. It might be a good message that you can share, being like, are you all in? Either you are or you are not, right? Tiger Dragon says, lovely people, I have to go now. Calling in from Greece. Well, Opa. Hello from Canada to Greece. Hope you have a wonderful night, Dragon, Tiger. Lee Ang's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's beautiful. Another one I truly loved was the movie Hero. And Tarantino had a hand in it. And it was, I can't remember if it was Jet Li. I can't remember who it was. But his beautiful cinematography in the movie Hero. And I'll just give you a little bit of a premise of it, because it was a very moving movie for me. A moving movie? Get that. But anyways, I believe it was Jet Li. He was an assassin. And there was a tyrannical emperor at the time when the kingdom of China was divided into Chu, Wu, and Wei. There were the three kingdoms. And the emperor of, I believe it was Wei or Cao, was a very authoritarian ruler. He was the emperor. Nobody got within 100 paces. You couldn't even go in to sit next or converse with the emperor. So what happened was, it tells this story of this assassin who works for the emperor, who assassinates all the emperor's would-be assassins. And news of this travels back to the emperor. So he wants to have court with his assassin that has gotten rid of all of the would-be assassins. But it turns out Jet Li was a double agent. He wanted to assassinate the emperor because he was on the side of the people that wanted to put an end to the tyranny and the ruthlessness. But he saw the greater good in the emperor by the end of conversing with him. And he basically takes the butt end of the sword. And he shows the emperor, hey, I could have did you in, but I didn't, even though you're corrupt, you're ruthless, you're tyrannical. Eventually, the people will be unified. And he forced the emperor, pretty much told the emperor, I could have taken it away, but I've left you with this second chance. And now do something good with it. Because the hero recognized that assassinating the tyrannical ruler would have only brought about more chaos to the land, more war to the land. So he gave the emperor a second chance and some food for thought to think about, because he made his point. And then instead of killing him, he was just like, I could have killed you, but I'm not going to. And of course, they didn't let Jet Li leave with his life. He died for it because the emperor was having none of it. But at the end of the day, you can see the amount of good he did. And if on that subject of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and if you like those sort of movies, Hero by Tarantino, I think it was Jet Li, was a really good one as well. It had a very powerful message behind it. And I've also been conversing with one of my favorite Pisces friends as of late. And he kind of let me know, or he brought me up to speed on the importance of the relevance of the message behind the movie known as Groundhog's Day, which is a nice little message for spring. You know, the movie where Bill Murray relives the same day after day after day after day, and slowly but surely, with the power of time that he's given back to him by reliving the same day over and over again, he goes from being a complete miserable wretch to actually a very nice person. And he starts putting effort into his personal relationships. And he starts seeing the sanctimony of like giving back and conversing and giving people the time of day. It's actually a very powerful message behind that sort of lighthearted community. That's okay. That's okay. And good night to Greece. And thanks, Alicia, for tuning in and for watching. That's awesome of you. Just a small, intimate group. I don't even know what we're going to talk about next. You can just listen. I can just be quiet for a little while. The first ever French fry was made in Greece, not in France. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because Greek restaurants, they still serve French fries as one of the main dishes, usually. You can get French fries. At an authentic Greek restaurant, you'll still be able to get French fries. It'd be called Greek fries. And even potato chips. Weren't potato chips at one point in time like very gourmet. Only the rich and powerful could eat potato chips because they were so delicately prepared. They were like considered gourmet food. Yeah, and they're still fried in grease. Want a piece? What up, peace? Peace, love, and happiness. I'll slowly pack up my treasure box. I have more stuff somewhere that'd be fun to show you guys. Eventually, we'll slowly start to pack up the treasure box. I feel like we're on a children's program with like Mr. Rogers comes out, does his stuff. Yeah. Probably you could drive trucks through the gaps in my pop cultural knowledge. That's okay. Pop culture is still culture. It just kind of takes us by surprise. It goes pop. Absolutely goes pop. All right. What else could we look at? What else is fun and entertaining? Maybe we pulled a goddess for Norman. Let's pull another goddess oracle, power oracle for the group, if that would be okay with you guys. Sounds fun. Yeah, and if anybody's out there is like, I know Citron, I know you've had a rough week. You've been through a lot. And hopefully you're able just like vibing out and finding a little bit of peace and serenity here tonight. I'm happy that we could be here for you. I'm glad you had a bit of a silver lining there. And this whole thing with the job and the promotion and all that, I'm really curious. You should hit me up on Instagram, Citron, and let me in on a little bit of 411 about what's going on with you, because I know that last reading that I did for you and all that you've let me know that's been going on with you in the workplace there, I did kind of get that feeling, that pull of ethics. I just hope you're doing well. Bad moderator. Hey, Steve, you finally got in there, and I really had to streamline the whole wrench situation. But I'm so glad. I hope to get these programs a little bit more frequent for those of you that just like to chill and vibe. And the shuffle sounds. I'm sitting on the floor. I don't even really have like a very good table in front of me but the shuffle sounds through the SMR. That used to be a thing that we did. All right. This is card number 29, everybody. Sorry for the glare. This is Lilith, goddess of independence. Wow. I don't even know if I can really comment on the word itself, independence, because people have strong subconscious ties to their level of dependency, codependency, interdependency, and independence, right? And they all have these differences to them. I'm just going to go ahead and take a sip of the thank you water and read from the book on this. A gold lining. He's got the zipper across his mouth. Did I see Jessica the Goddess came in and out? I didn't acknowledge. Hi, Jessica the Goddess. Sorry if I missed you. I saw you slip through there, and I meant to say hi, but I don't know if I did. If I missed her, I'm so sorry. Misconnecting. But we're kind of here in community and group. As long as somebody saw her and said hello, I guess we're okay. 29, Lilith, the goddess of independence. Let's go ahead and read about Lilith. The goddess Lilith refused to be dominated by the first man, and as a result was called a demon in the stories about her that followed. These inaccurate and damaging stories are so old and repeated so often that no one recognizes how pervasive their implications are. From another perspective, Lilith offers this lesson. No one can prevent you from fully blooming, from learning all you can, from evolving and choosing freedom. Only conditioned thinking can do that. Be proud, be accountable, claim your power, and hold it wisely. Do you sometimes fear being independent? You may have been conditioned to believe the only way to have close relationships is to become enmeshed and entangled with others. Do you long for independence and breathing space, yet fear reprisal should you choose to detach from unhealthy companions or situations? You'll need courage for the alignment task Lilith asks of you. Walk away and establish a more empowered sense of self by saying no to these relationships that drain your very life force. Sometimes people attract drama into their lives so to avoid accountability. Enabling this dynamic helps you avoid the responsibility that's required when you have no one else to blame for the conditions of your life. Other people's chaos becomes a smokescreen that muddies the real truth. Deep down, you're afraid of the consequences of taking charge of your life. However, all is not lost. You would not be here reading these words or listening to these words if you weren't ready or strong enough to make these changes. You are leveling up your life. Lilith is beside you to lend you the strength and courage to do the right thing for yourself and others. And to be honest, you guys, I think that was a strong message for me. Not to be selfish, but I think that might have been a bit of a strong message for me in what I'm feeling right now as well. Lovers will be loved. Yeah, we can definitely relate to a message. Thanks, Lilith, for that message. And I feel that pull, not only for myself, but some of the other people that I've been interacting with. It's tough. It's like walking a tightrope sometimes, you know. And Nicole's got her headphones in, listening. Nicole, that was a beautiful reading today for you. I wish you the best for what is about to transpire. I truly do. Because as Steve says, lovers will love. They truly will. Know the light, but keep to the dim. Know the yang, but stay with the yin. Understand the masculine, but stick to the feminine. We all walk this bit of a tightrope in the yin-yang polarity of all that we see around us. You know, especially for those of you that maybe you don't truly understand the essence of the Tao or of the oneness of it all, however you put it, however you see it, however it makes sense in your brain, that thing that is unnameable. But you always also have your chi, you have your breath, okay? So these are like that's the tool that we can rely upon in any of this, because outside is really all we have to make sense of it all. You just feel bad that I'm going to move on eventually. Yeah. Well, you know, Nicole, I'm glad that, you know, as beautiful as it is, you've been able to recognize within yourself and resist that temptation to just go head over heels. I feel that you've really leveled up in regards to your level of self-sustainability through your power and your emotional intelligence. You've been through a lot this year, and I wish I could just give you a huge pat on the back to be like, you know, you took it all with a good level of like strength, intelligence, and understanding to that which unfolded before you that would cripple most people emotionally. And it's awesome. I'm just so glad that you found us and have decided to stick with us through a time. And that Chanel, silly Chanel, I don't know if she's coming back or not. You're lucky to have a beautiful twin sister. Both of you are lucky to have a beautiful twin sister. Very much so. Very blessed. Very happy. Hey, that brings me to another point about trying hard, actually. You know, the story about the rat, he didn't have to try to get to the other side of the room. He just won the whole thing outright. People would cry foul. They would cry it was unfair. The other animals would say, boo earns. That did, you know. Thanks, Citron. You know, that's just not fair. But he didn't have to try. And the more difficult, unless it is to do, there is a certain amount of doing within self, coming into awareness of self, and being aware of our experiences as our greatest teacher, because they are our. There is no Zen master, there is no teacher out there that is greater than your own life experience, because it's the one that resonates deeply for you, and it's the one that will actually correct you if you are mistaken. But if we're struggling and we're trying to achieve a goal, it's well known as you're awakening that the harder you try, the harder it is. It comes to this point of just releasing it and then accepting it and then having it be there for you. And it takes a little practice. It happens on a very subtle level. No, it's not. It's not, right? And I went through that a long time too. It's like, why do I have to wake up? Why do I have to bust my ass every day to make sure that I don't freeze to death? You're from Alaska, you get it. I swear, if I lived in Texas or Arizona or Southern California, I'd be a full gypsy, hanging out on the street corner with a sign right now, because the climate is very temperate. And I think that's a strong reason why I was born into this ancestry of Norse and this far north, is because I learned that life isn't fair. I learned that it takes a certain level of self-motivation, of get up and go-ness, as it were, to make sure that I didn't freeze to death, so that I learned to take care of body and mind. And I didn't go too far out there where I was unrecoverable, and I didn't have the sanctity of a loving family or the comforts of sanctuary. I learned the importance of those things in this lifetime by having to get up every morning, go out, shovel snow, do what it takes to survive, stoke the fire, whatever it might be. And sometimes it feels like it's not fair. And sometimes people get conditioned to the fact, well, I'm just going to do it. And then they stop looking for a better way. But it's about finding that balance. What works for you? What doesn't work for you? Birds of a feather flock together, but a tribe like us, we are all coming from different geographical locations, different population densities, different cultures, different walks of life. That's wonderful. It's excellent, because we can bounce these tennis balls off each other. Just throw a tennis ball at Steve and watch it bounce off of him and roll back to you and be like, how has this tennis ball changed after coming into contact with Steve? For the better, And it was same as Nicole, same as Christina, same as Citron, right? It just happens of that nature. And for those of you that are watching and not necessarily participating in the chat, feel free to jump in. We're a place that likes to remain free of judgment, and we want to remain openly welcoming to those of you that are just listening and cued in. If you're AFK like Celicia, that's okay too. But anybody that wants to introduce themselves here, feel free to speak up. Feel free to step up. Robin's welcome. We got to get Robin's or wrench back too. We've been giving the wrenches back, Robin's. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being so awesome. And hello and welcome. We're doing our late night get together, late night chat. Jack Sprat could eat no fat, his wife could eat no lean, and therefore then between them both they licked the platter clean. Sometimes it takes opposites to attract. And you see very successful relationships. Opposing signs can be very good, or signs that are next to each other in the zodiac can be very good, because we're able to bounce those tennis balls off each other's heads. Be like, you're so different, but it works so well. It works so good, absolutely. Driving and listening. Well, hopefully we don't put you to sleep, Robbins. Hopefully you've had a nice jolt of something to keep you awake, because people tend to drift off around here. Yeah, and to a Capricorn, I can totally relate. I can totally understand why you might feel that way, right? It's tough. Christina might have some insight on that. Christina might have some insight to that. All right, so there we are. The wrenches are coming back for everybody. And remember, if it's not broken, don't fix it. All I ask from the moderators is that you be most welcoming to everybody that comes into the chat, even if you just say hello or welcome. When I'm a moderator on some other people's channels, and I tell them outright, like, I can't keep the list. I'm just not good enough or quick enough on the typey type. And I'll never ask you guys to like keep a list or pump the tires of the channel being like, you know, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. You don't have to do that. All I ask is you be welcoming, like you say. Welcome, Elaney. It's been a minute. I'm glad to see that you're here. Hopefully you're doing well. You know, you don't have to say all that stuff. Just be welcoming and go on troll patrol. That's all I ask, troll patrol. Right? Absolutely. I dated some Cancer. You know, that story I told about stealing kisses when we breathe. Tell me what's the dealio? Steal those breathing kisses. You know, I was very infatuated with Cancerian ladies growing up. It was a strong physical attraction I had to them, like very strong. Like I wanted to just paint myself all over them as a Scorpio, but they never worked out. Those relationships, they never worked out because, like you say, they're heavy emotions. Thanks, Elaney, for the super chat. Elaney asks, "How's David feels, and what love life looks like in general?" I'll honor that definitely, Elaney. I'm gonna use the Gilded Lenormand Reverie deck for that. Absolutely, it's okay. But it's good awareness to know if you don't match up with a particular sign, and you meet somebody and they tell you that's their sign, you know. And if you're still at a point where you're strongly identified with your zodiac, with your Western zodiac, you know, it could be a good warning sign to just steer clear, you know, if need be. Forget the hassle, forget the resistance if need be. But you can't fight your attraction either. If you're mentally, spiritually, physically, strongly attracted to somebody else, it shouldn't really matter their astrology if that feeling is mutual. It's all about being able to experience the relationship in a level of spontaneous love, rather than a love that's filled with conditions or expectations, or role playing, as they call it, right? This is the role, you're the man, I'm the lady, or I'm the breadwinner, you do this and I do that, and that's why it works. It's got to kind of transcend that. It's got to go beyond that for that love to remain spontaneous. And then at that time, I believe that any juxtaposition of astrological placements in relationships can work and will work, 100%. Okay, we're just going to ask the Gilded Reverie deck some cards for Elaney about how David feels and what her love life looks in general. These sound right. Wow. All right. I feel like David is confused right now, Elaney. I feel he's like wound up like a tight-knit clock, right? It's kind of like, I don't think it's like Dark Night of the Soul type stuff, but he's really confused about sort of the analytical approach to your relationship, how he should go about like courting you, or perhaps he's trying to think too hard about what he's making of you and understanding about you. It's like he thinks himself into a tizzy at bedtime about how he's feeling. There is a strong connection. He processes emotions through the mind. I don't get a sense of a large open heart-centered chakra energy from your David, Eleni. I feel like he's trying to analyze his feelings, and this is leading to confusion. He is really wound up like a tight clock, all right? But the clouds are about to break on this, right? I feel that when he sees you, or when he's in communication, I don't know if he's in communication with you right now, but it's like this guy can really become immersed in the moment. This guy can really become passionate in the moment. And it's like when you're around this person, it's like a weight is lifted off his shoulder, because when he's away from you, he thinks all about the if, ands, or buts, the who, what's, wins, wheres, and whys. But when there's a togetherness, when he's with the person that he's thinking about, all that goes out the window, and he has actually a very easy time just being himself. But the feeling is he's a little bit confused as to compatibility and expectation, the analytics of the relationship, I call it. You know, what is the next step? What direction is it taking? And those sort of things. I don't really get a sense that this person like runs away from commitment. You saw each other earlier today. Well, that's good. Your presence was like a gift. I feel like you answered a lot of questions for him. But then as soon as you kind of went away again, he went back into this cycle of thinking what it could be, what it should be, what he doesn't want it to be, what he wants it to be with you. It's very tricky. And it's an intense time. You know, he's kind of been on this journey. He's been in this mentality, or in this particular state for quite some time. He could use a loving hand. He could use he kind of needs a really loving, harmonious relationship in his life right now. Yeah, because there he is. There he is. Kind of like, what do they call him? The wounded warrior, Chiron, right? The warrior of love, you know. Bruised and battered, but never down for long. You get a sense of divine masculine through this person. Look at this, a nice pair of aces. So there's a level of newness for this. You know, this person has the ability to commit and to be in it for the long haul, right? And I think there's a lot of loving energy that comes forward for this person for you. But he doesn't know how to process this in his mind. He's not like fully or completely open right now, Eleni. It's very cerebral for you. Okay? I like this. What's coming for you in love life is a new adventure, Eleni. I really like seeing this this floaty wind ship up for you, and the number of 3. A lot of old cycles have recently come to an end for you. You may have said goodbye to certain partners or certain energies in your life, and now you're kind of feeling, Eleni is a little bit elated or feeling a little bit like you've risen above, and that you're harmonizing. You have a nice resonance with the new people that have been introduced to you. And fulfillment is destined to come your way. No matter who the gentleman is, whether it's David or not, okay? And I think it can be David. I really think it can. But the more often you're together, the more beneficial it's going to be easier for him to fall in love. If you guys are like kind of casually seeing each other and you spend long portions of time apart, and the text messaging or the phone calls run a little bit cold, this person tends to like analyze or think himself to a fault, right? He gets too heavy in his head about stuff like this. But I see fulfillment, and I see new levels of euphoria and adventure and elation. Eleni is feeling a little bit elated and a bit aloof by all this. So this is good things. This is new adventure and actually feeling high, feeling like the natural highs of euphoria and bliss coming your way in your love life. I'm not sure as to the timing on it. The pair of aces was key, Eleni. But please know that anything that you can do, and you don't have to do anything special. You just need to sort of be there. If I can encourage you to make yourself available when it works for like, and that sort of stuff, and don't give him too much of a guessing game, the better off, or the more harmony I see coming between you and David. Okay, so hopefully that resonated for you, Eleni. Always appreciate you coming on the program. It's been a little while, and it's good to see you again. We're not doing too many readings, but thank you for the super chat. I definitely honor that, right? You know, it's fun. It just feels good to be here with you guys. And sometimes during the live tarot programs, like, I get hyped. I get way too excited to a fault. You're welcome. Here, Elaine, let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and pull a goddess card for you, because we've got this deck out tonight. Don't go away just yet, Elaine. I got more for you. I got more for you. This is for you now, just for being the amazing person that you are. Nothing to do with relationships, but a message for spirit, if you want it. If you want it. You don't have to have it, but it would be my honor to continue on your reading for you with a message from spirit. Because I appreciate your support of the channel, coming correct and hitting us up when you can. Zelania issue. Do we have a flipper? No, not yet. No flipper yet. Remember flipper? You're welcome so much. It means a lot that you still come around and tribe with the center. You hold the center. You hold the core with us. It means a lot to us. Oh, this is nice. This goes much along the lines of that floaty ship and the lady on the carousel. You know, this is Yi. I think I pronounce Yi. Goddess of the sun. This is a nice goddess to resonate with. And I'm going to read from the book for you, Elaine, on this particular goddess card that you pulled. Okay. The goddess Yi, the goddess of the sun. And this is a card number 54. Very cool. Very cool stuff. The book. We need to get the book. All right. She's one of the last cards in the deck. Actually, she is the last card. No, second last card in the deck. Because she's actually 51. There's 52. All right, Elaine. When you shine your light into the world, you will attract various people and experience that match or challenge your commitment to being empowered. Right now, you are receiving information to know which choice to make, which opportunity to take, and which person to trust. The Aboriginal Australian sun goddess Yi illuminates your path with her rays and brings clarity as she shows you what you need to know. A bright light also attracts lots of bugs, so know that you may also attract those who see themselves smaller as a result of your empowerment. This is conditioning that needs to be healed in many people in the world. All you can do is be incandescent, joyful, kind, and truthful, and the world will begin to reflect that goddess back to you. The goddess Yi is happy to help you shine. Sometimes the light shines too bright and too hot for you to achieve your goals. Although the sun is bright, getting too close will risk fire. Will have fire and risk burning everything to the ground. Do you really want to know all that is hidden from you right now? Are you ready to face the harsh light of illumination that rips open your old ideas and shows you what else is possible? Yeah, that kind of goes along with it. This is a new adventure. You closed out an old cycle, I feel. Okay, Elaine? So it's going to be like, and it's interesting. We did a reading for the sign of Taurus today as well. And Taurus is kind of actually facing that sort of like, the light attracts all the bugs, but we have to let it shine so that it can attract the best thing for us at the same time. So definitely stay discerning right now, Elaine. And you can ride high on the airship. You can ride around on the carousel. You can really begin to enjoy and have a lot of fun with life, stuff like that, for sure. Okay. Steve, you don't repel anyone. You don't repel everyone. You don't repel everyone, generally speaking. Because you know what? 99.9% of them, you know, it's tough for them to get on your wavelength, right? When you understand the power of the uncarved block and things like invisible action, it puts you in a league of your own. And it can be a little bit lonely at times. It can be a little bit tough to navigate, become the master of your seed. when you have the understanding that you do, and not many people can even get to that level. But it's not so much as you're repellent. It's just very difficult for people around you to resonate at that level, so you can recognize them as being worthy enough to welcome into your isness. That's just a strong feeling I have. Oh, Rebecca. Thanks, Rebecca, for popping in and dropping a like. It means a lot to me. Thanks, Rebecca. No, I do. I'm an asshole most of the majority of the time. Believe it. Hey, and that's all right too. If that's the stage that you need to be in right now, it's a stage of balancing it out, right? Like, you don't come in here, you don't repel many people from here, you know? I'd kick you out if you did, but you don't, Steve, you know? And if people aren't worth your time of day, it's just a matter of you standing in your power. You know, it truly is. I went through that a lot too, even just this past 2 or 3 years in my 3D life, in my waking life. I needed to get shit done. And the people that were around me, I needed them to get shit done too. And I put it to them in a way that was not nurturing, that was not kind-hearted. It was very demonstrative. I knew I was an asshole. I knew that I needed to be an asshole. But again, that was going back to, you know, my ego believing that what I was doing was important. So it's tough, you know, that sort of thing. You're just relating to people, right? Yeah, because that's the best we can do to accommodate as dudes, as the masculine side of it. Sometimes you got to resonate down. You've got to coach down. You've got to resonate down, come down to their level. But you got to remember at that point in time that that's not you. You're playing that role. You're like this stage actor that's able to do it. You're able to get into character. You're able to be an asshole when you need to be an asshole, when you're asked to play the role of an asshole. Maybe you just need to wrap up the particular movie you're working on and find a new role that you want to take for the screenplay or the stage play that is your life, right? And I know, but you're better off winning the lottery, right? You as well. You're appreciated as well, Elaine. Thanks so much. It means so much to come in. How about another good vibes message for collective? I feel like we can do that. Rebecca stopped in. Here we go. No one, and I mean no one, can make you feel inferior without your consent. Okay. Perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. These are interesting people. We're talking about people that hold high office. Eleanor Roosevelt and Colin Powell. Who the heck were they? I forget. Doesn't matter. But they said some pretty cool stuff. Perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. And that's a lot about what like Abraham Hicks talks about in terms of the law of attraction and creating abundance in your life. It's kind of like, if you wake up in the morning feeling pissed off or obligated rather than appreciative of your own life and your own existence, you're not going to be able to create good momentum behind whatever force it is that you're wanting to bring about. Okay. When you wake up, and that's why it's perpetual optimism. Waking up in the morning and thinking, I've got a new start. I've got another new day. I've got one more day. I got one more. Hey, I didn't pass in my sleep. That's a friggin' miracle in itself. I'm appreciative and happy to be alive. That's the force multiplier. If you get in a habit of good affirmation and self-talk in the very early morning hours, you start to build a force behind you and a wave, an unstoppable movement, a force of getting what you want out of life, which hopefully your end goal is happiness. FDR. The only thing to fear is fear itself. Wasn't it FDR that said the only thing to fear is fear itself? He must have had a good lady writing his speeches back in the day when they would let them do that. Yeah, that's a true one. We did a Legends of Tarot program back in March for FDR's birthday. Eleanor Roosevelt was the wife of Theodorus. All right. I think we're going to give this about 15 more minutes, and then we're probably going to say goodnight to everybody. And I'm thank you all for coming, and thanks all for being here. Absolutely. Citron says, if I won the lottery, I could be the asshole nature intended me to be. But you probably wouldn't be. Citron, I feel like it would change you for the better. I get a kick, and I was reminded of through story, how a lot of these lottery winners, they didn't really understand what they had. And they absolutely pissed all of their winnings away within a matter of years. So they hit the high. They went right back down to being an average Joe, an average person, right? They didn't realize what they had till it was gone. They didn't protect. They threw outrageous parties and paid heavenly bills. They gave money to their friends. They bought a Ferrari, and when a Ferrari wasn't good enough, they bought a Maserati. And when after the Maserati wasn't good enough, they bought a yacht. And before too long, it was all gone. It was all gone. And living a uniquely individual life is much like winning a lottery. You know, you don't want to piss your days away with too much silliness, too much what I call it locker beating your head against a locker. And that's why I always harp you guys on this whole thank you water thing and this appreciation take, because it's like a Kickstarter, not a Kickstarter fund or program. It's a motivational Kickstarter. It's a momentum. Appreciation is a momentum builder for abundance. That's kind of how it's used. You don't have to use it. You have to be truly in appreciation of it. You can't just say you're in appreciation of it. You have to truly practice it. And it's a subtle art practice that you can do. It doesn't take much energy at all. All it takes, you just come into the moment. You realize how appreciative of what you have right now. And then more begins to grow and grow and grow. But do you ever think that's what kept them from wealth before? Yeah, it's highly possible. It's highly possible. You know, the lucky ducks, right? Certified depositor. Yeah, we should be sitting on a beach collecting 20%. Just like, what is he? He's saying the original Die Hard, when they're about to break the vault, he's like, we'll be sitting on a beach collecting 20%. Yeah. Yeah, and health. Health is wealth too, I truly believe. You take good care, you know. You lose your health, it's kind of like losing a rich person losing all his money is like, you know, an average person losing their health. They really feel poor, to feel lack mentality, right? To be without. It's a tough place. Health and love, definitely. And health comes from a point of self-love. So when you love yourself, you really begin to take care of your health. Truly and completely. But we all have our things. Life is meant for living too. Eat to live or live to eat. Don't judge yourself or others, no matter what side of the fence they're on about those particular things. And speaking of eating, here she comes, everybody. It's Eve. Welcome, Eve. Thanks for being here. Health is a given. Yeah, when you're in a weight, but I don't believe for everybody health is a given. Some people squander their health like people squander their riches. You know, even me sucking on my comfort stick. You know, it's not the most healthy thing I can do. Could be doing better, but I don't judge myself too harshly for it. And the most benevolent kindness of souls, they don't have the mental capacity, and they get struck down by cancer. Not the sign, but the created idea that they're sick, and their body rebels against itself because there's a seed that gets planted in their mind, and that they're sick. And I'm not gonna. That's a touchy subject. I don't want to get too far into that, but yeah. And when you've truly reached those levels, you realize how fleeting your life is. But to some of us that are still on these lower levels of learning and ascending, life is pretty important. Life is pretty important. It's fleeting, and when you're truly awake, it's, it should be fun. You realize the game that it is, and it kind of loses some of its seriousness. But I still believe that something can be important without taking on the role of like super serious. Happy Saturday. Very nice job. It's cleaning the kitchen with two ends. The kitchen in. Welcome, Eve. We're wrapping up here in about 10 minutes. We just wanted to throw a little after party and get in touch with the late night Akash again. Come back down to core resonance with the tribe. And I want to say hi to you all. I wish I had time to do like an individual oracle for all of you. And hopefully we can do more of these programs. I'm still in gypsy mode, everybody. So I'm not quite settled down in. We might have some nights where we can just come in and you guys can study with me, because I'm going back to college in January. But I'm still going to turn this on in my dorm room on campus Wi-Fi. And I hope you'll all join me. I might be studying some really mundane stuff, but we'll still have time to talk. And hopefully I can, I'm looking at evolving the channel in some different ways. Hopefully you guys are going to be seeing some uploaded, some more meditation videos, guided meditation videos. And there's a thing that I have where I like to turn on some nice ambient space type scenery. We have a new music supplier, and he's working on creating some very ambient original tracks for us, which I think is absolutely wonderful. Right now, he creates a lot of hip hop beats and stuff like that. A link to his description, his Spotify link is in the description below. It's generationally based. Like, you like it, for young people that like a good hip hop vibe, even a touch of rap music. I spit some bars on a few of his tracks, but he's now creating a lot of like nice ambient beats for us to try out, and then eventually like he'll rap over them and put it out on albums that he does his thing on Spotify. We've been inundated with Aquarian support here tonight. Our Aquarian's been so supportive. Absolutely. Born on Valentine's Day, this young producer over there in Aquarius, Staunch Records. And if you follow the link down to Spotify, you can't miss him. You can't. He's got bright suspenders on, the whole works. Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to do some more meditations. They're a secret. I got a cool little plan about some nice new guided meditations, and hopefully you guys will really like them. Yeah. More meditations. Yeah, and some different style of readings. We could have some more oracle nights when we get settled in. I could just turn the thing on, and then people can come and go at their leisure. I don't have to worry about lists and doing 17 relationship readings in a row. That has an energy in itself, and I really don't mind doing that stuff because, it's how the whole thing started. It's how, tarot has served me and the people I've read for well over the couple decades that I'm doing it. I'm not looking at abandoning it, fully and completely. But I think that to keep the 99 with some diversified programming is going to help, everybody at least be able to have a positive experience for when they come here. It's my goals anyways, just kind of throwing it all out there. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Citron. I don't have a lot of exclusive content on Patreon, but I appreciate you doing that. What I'm going to do, Citron, is I'll throw your name up on the side page when we're running the live streams with the OBS. And then if you've got anything that you want shouted out, you let me know, and thanks for helping the channel in that way. I appreciate that, and I'll give back to you as much as I can when we get into fun stuff, Pokemon readings, things of that nature, the stuff that kind of comes up like seasonally or perennially, and the fun stuff that we do. Definitely keep you in mind for all the added extras, Citron. And again, you let me know through Instagram or whatever if you want any type of specific message displayed over on the side. I'm not really so much links, but I can encourage people to get a hold of you through the chat and through Instagram. And thanks for signing up there. That's huge. It means a lot to me. Eve's doing laundry, waiting for the fudge. What? Eve says laundry. Wee. What the snail said on the turtle's back. Wee. And the refrigerator is spotless. Oh yeah, you're in cleaning mode. Waiting for the food. 6. But tomorrow I'll have London broil and apple walnut salad. Oh, that sounds delicious. And do a banana cream. Oh, that'd be wonderful. Banana cream pudding, something like that. Get your potassium. Lots of starch and potatoes. God, Eve, you're making us hungry. Eve, it's our resident cook. Our resident cook. They pay you to clean up. Yeah, it can be tough, especially when you're in bachelor mode. I totally feel that. And you guys, I'm asking for a little bit of extra support. I'm on a mission at the age of 42 to eventually get my foot back over my head. I've been trying really hard. If you guys can cheer me on, in the subtleness of what we do, I'm going to get back there one day. I'm eventually getting there. These streams on the floor as of lately, I've been in half lotus for like 4 or 5 hours at a time, and I'm eventually getting back there. But it's going to take some time. And looking forward to that. It sounds dangerous. It is dangerous. Imagine if it got stuck there. Like, remember when they said, don't make that face. If someone slaps you on the back, your face will stay that way forever. Imagine I finally get it, and then I get stuck there, and they have to rush me to the hospital. They'd be like, you're not a yogi. You're a pogie. You're an old fogey. You're not a yogi. I want to be a yogi so I don't become an old fogey too soon. But, I strongly believe that we are really winning this new age battle. Battle is it's not the right word, but this new age quest. We're winning this quest to really come out on top so that, a couple hundred years from now, people will still be watching it and able to draw from this channel when we're all long gone. Imagine people hundreds of years from now reading our chats and like getting inspiration from us. It should be amazing. It should be awesome. And we're kind of winning this new age battle. I shouldn't use the word battle. We're winning this new age quest so that we're establishing a level of permanence with the collective awakening. And we're just doing our little part within this matrix, within the matrix. Absolutely. You can tilt your head over and your foot will come down. Yeah, absolutely. Or I'll just push and snap my knee like Jean-Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport. Snap. Oh, that hurt. Absolutely. So again, no homework for anybody. On these late night Akash programs, I tend to like to give homework and tell you to listen to this song, read this book, do that stuff. None of that tonight, okay? Just be the best version of yourself and remain open. Scorpio season's intense. You don't have to remain open. You can withdraw. You do what feels right in your inner gut. In everything, it's a modest mouse. We'll all float on all right, and we'll all float on okay. You can do it. Put your back into it. Had 45 kids at the door for Halloween. Extra cute and talking to me. Like I forgot. Oh my God. I'm going to get Terrence McKenna up in here. So many cool things. I've been vibing out to the Tao of Pooh lately. I've been vibing out to a lot of stuff. Find yours. Find your nourishment. Your philosophical nourishment. There's no homework, but I encourage you all to do that. Welcome to Bahavia. Welcome to Sungaya. Hey guys, we're just ending the stream here. I literally got 2 minutes and we're going to be ending the stream. Bahavia, I know you were on the show earlier today. We called your name, but you were gone. So it's going to have to wait till next time, Bahavia. There's a slight chance I might be able to come on tomorrow night. But if not, we're going to be on again in about 1 week's time. with the Scorpio Sagittarius cusp reading, and then the live program to go on after that. And Sungaya, you're very welcome. Happy birthday to your boy. That was a beautiful reading. Thank you for letting me read those energies. It was very beautiful to be able to read those energies. Like I said, it gave me the encouragement to do 100 more relationship readings just when I can tap in and get a message from spirit and get that bridge across, you know. Yeah, it was amazing. And I want to thank you for allowing that, for making that possible. It did me a world of good, you know. It's not that I tapped in or did anything weird. It just felt really good to connect. Absolutely. That's okay. Dee will definitely join us next time. And Bahavia, I'm so sorry we missed in the divine timing this week. Must mean that you're meant to kind of just wait on things a little bit. And again, there's so many amazing readers and people out there. You can find Gazelle, you can find Edith, you can find Tati if you need to. If you got a tarot emergency, I'm sure they're on. You know, real. You know when you're questing with the core troop and the tribe that we have found. You can definitely find it. Oh, okay. She was asking this morning. Yeah, tomorrow evening's a possibility. I can't be 100% certain, but if I make it, I'm going to try to make it. And if we make it, hey, either we is or we ain't. It will either be on or it won't. But I don't want to make a 100% sure promise. Okay. So to everyone, to all of our moderators, to all of our sponsors, to all of our Patreon sponsors, especially Citron there in the chat, thanks so much for finding me there. It's awesome that you hit me up there. And thank you so much for everybody that just comes. And I know we didn't get into a lot of tarot readings tonight, asking questions. It felt good to get into this particular format of program tonight. I wish I could stay on a little bit longer, but it is time for slumber. I've got an early morning ahead of me. And we're going to try and do our best to keep these vibes flowing. I want to resurrect this program. I want to resurrect this side of the channel. You know, I've got it on good authority that would be a good thing to do. All right. So thanks again, everyone. Have a wonderful start to your week. Enjoy your Sunday. Remember, if the game's getting rough, step outside of the game, okay? Be your own best friend in this stuff. I appreciate you all so much. We'll see you again real soon.